Hi guys! Today it's once again time for another room setup tour. I made the last one like a year ago and this now is I think the third or fourth, and the last one was actually called my setup on a budget. I can't really call it on a budget anymore because it's way too expensive for that by now. I will go through the whole room. It could take a while and as always it will become like a room setup tour rambling, but I think if you are used to the content on the channel you know already that. In case the footage is shaking, I am recording this on a review unit, the Canon 80D, which is like super heavy, and I'm doing my best. Sound will be coming from my lav mic. I hope it is quite good enough, but other than that I will already say let's switch the cam so I can show the ground. Just a little bit of a quick turnaround so you can see the whole room as it is. This is where the not magic happens. Okay, let's start off with this corner. This is pretty much a more boring corner that I usually don't really want to get into a lot because as you can see there is still the desk. This is my second desk that I ever got besides this is pretty much the first after the dining room where I started making videos. I used it for a few videos and then it was replaced with the current desk that I have. It got the job done back then. This is still an old monitor. Haven't really used it because I can't use 5 monitors at a time, but I will get to it in just a second. My old printer, a little bit weirdly placed because the cable is too short. I wanted to buy a new one already for more than a year, didn't get to that. As you can see, my cable management is spot on, but I don't really get to organize it because I change stuff every time and so much that it doesn't really make sense for me to try to organize that. But the desk will be gone. I'm maybe putting a smaller shelf here somewhere so I can put some stuff here. Footrest, I didn't really use that. Just think I needed it one time. Here, as you can see, this was one shelf where I usually record the monitors on if I review them. But what I did now with them, as you can maybe see here, I placed my boom arm for my mic here so I can get closer to it to record myself. Because the closer you get with a mic, the better the audio quality gets, and this way it also doesn't touch my desk. So if I bump the desk, you won't notice that. And here with some acoustic foam, I will get into that a little bit later. Here we have my super old chair. This was the very first one that I've used for over a year. Actually wasn't that bad. Here is a desk or a shelf maybe a cupboard that I had where I have this desk now, but it fits so nicely in here, doesn't take up any space, and since I don't use it, it's not in the way. Other than that, I have here this kind of laptop table or something like that. Didn't really use that so much. A fan for the summer. This is a cupboard or drawer, not even sure what it's called, where I have some random stuff. And yes, by the way, this is what you see in my low light shots. This is pretty much always the same stuff. And as you can see, it's not organized at all and not really used all that much because I don't really need all that stuff. Here are some cleaning things if I want to get some things cleaned. This is the new desk that I built and it's super cheap. As you can see, it's DIY and it cost me like 50 bucks, but it totally gets the job done because before there I had nothing really proper here. And this allows me now to put some stuff on if I maybe want to make a photo or something like that that is not on the main desk, so it isn't in the way. So this is handy. For 50 bucks it gets the job done. It's wide, it's okay, it's stable, and I can put some stuff on it. Didn't really use it much because I just built it like 3 days or so. And especially this is nothing. This is just temporary, but not much will fix. And this is something you will see in the videos anyways. Some more stuff. As you can see, this smaller table is actually not attached. I can use this if I need it because it's okay. Here is the memory foam, 3 platters, and I plan on putting them somewhere here where it's still left, but I didn't have the proper glue yet, and the one that I used always make them fell off. This is half of my couch that I usually had 90 degrees turned around, but I don't really ever use it. In 4 years that I have it, or I have it here like 2 or 3 years, I didn't really use it at all because I just don't have the time to sit on it if I'm making videos. So this is the main part. As you can see here, this is my main working area with the new chair, because the old one I paid on sale $250, but it was quite small. And the one thing that always annoyed me about this one is how high this gets up, and I can't really spread my legs nice. And if you want to see a review of that one, could happen. as you can see, is way more flat, and therefore, even though it's actually on paper smaller, is bigger. But I like it, and I only paid $150 for that one. Actually, let's put this out of the way. It would have been even $135 if I wouldn't have been too lazy to check that. Okay, as you can see here, another foam wall. That was still back in the days when I recorded the setup more from this angle, so you won't really see the background. Here is the shelf. This is just filled up. I don't really use that either all that much, because I don't really use all that much of the stuff here. Everything else is usually spread on the desk anyways. Here are my headphones, the Sennheiser HE600. Thanks to Sennheiser for kinda gifting me those, because I love them. Great sound. I reviewed them, of course. HyperX Cloud 2. Just bought them like maybe 2 months or a month ago. Really liked them. Logitech G533. This is just a review on it. I will have to give that back, and my Sennheiser GSP 300 that I love for gaming. Other than that, if you just quickly check what we have here, not important. Not important, because that's the stuff that you don't see on cam, because it's mostly just to store things. Here are my 2 old camcorders. This is the very first one that I've used for a lot of videos, and it did get the job done quite a long time. I've then almost 2 years ago bought this one. I think about selling both, but I just didn't get to that yet. Then I have the X-Men cap that I got it. It was merchandise. Don't really ever put it on, because it is from X-Men Apocalypse, which was the worst superhero movie I've ever seen. The Scarlet 666, I will show it in person. As you can see here, not really anything important. And it's quite messy, but it is fine. Now let's start off with the desk actually. As you can see here, a little bit of some cable management attempts, even though you see this is not the real deal. What I have here is, and I don't really have that all that much, and if you're asking what what microphone have you actually attached to the Scarlett Focusrite 6i6? None. I don't have an XLR microphone yet. I still use my USB, the Rode anti-USB, but yeah, in case I wanna get it. And here I have the Shit Magni 2 as my amp for the HD600. As you can see here, I just reviewed it not that long ago. This is a USB 3.0 hub. I have some stuff plugged in, and this is something you don't really ever see, and that's why I don't really care about the cable. Like I said, I switch that out all the time. Here I have another USB 3.0 hub with 4 slots, even though due to the SD card readers I can only use 3. But it's okay. I like that. I can't actually turn it on and off, which is super handy. Nothing really important in this cupboard or in the shelf below. One thing that you can maybe see now is what I just recently did, because the desk was always too high for me, and my legs always hurt, and everything was just too high. If I typed or if I used the mouse, everything was too high. So what I did just, I think 2 days ago, took off the actual feet off the desk, which was super heavy, or heavy to make, because the whole desk is big and heavy. And if you take the feet off, which gave me like 3 centimeters downwards, of course the whole desk goes down. So I was afraid it would break, but I got it. But what I also made is I kind of moved the whole one, because as you can see, the middle monitor is not centered anymore, because it was centered with this rectangular. It's not anymore, because I somehow shifted the whole desk towards the left. I won't change it anymore, because the desk now with all monitors is way too heavy. So this will be the case, and I really love this view. It's great. And the great thing is, since I lowered the desk by 3 centimeters now, and that gives me a better height to actually type on, it really makes a big difference. I wanted to also take the advantage of using here, as you can see, this to place the monitors a little bit higher, what it looks like, but the actual height is the exact same, because the monitors were usually erased a little bit, and now they are completely at the bottom. So the height didn't change, but I'm closer to the desk now, which makes ergonomics a lot better. Therefore, I had to rotate the JBL Pebbles flat, but they can be used like this, and this is fine. And now I have some actual space beneath the monitors that I can put my gear and my controllers in, and so this is really helpful. The monitors, by the way, are still my Dell U2515H, and I love them. Just 60 frames per second, but for content creation it's great, because they're very color accurate and so on. My mouse is the Razer Taipan, the Battlefield Edition, just because it was back then noticeably cheaper and it still gets the job done. I like all the macros. The sensor on its own, it's not all that great. This I recently got from Corsair after the review. Can have it, and this is definitely my keyboard to go because the typing on the Cherry MX Blue switches is amazing. And I got this Shark Zone wrist rest, but I turned it actually the other way around. For me, it works better this way. Here is some cleaning cloth. Beneath that, you can see my Bluetooth controller. That is garbage. The Mad Catz controller doesn't work with so many phones, and that's why I can't recommend it. A kind of backup mouse that I use for the reviews if I want to switch through a few things, because as you can see, I'm a lefty, the mouse is on the left. But if I use this setup, I need another mouse. My Xbox controller from the Gears of War edition, as you can see here. And here I usually rest my spare batteries and some other things. This is pretty much a God-given. This was so handy. It's usually a gaming keyboard, but I use it to control OBS that I make all my videos for, and this is so handy. I set up a lot of buttons with auto hotkey because it's not programmable. Great, absolutely works. Here I have usually something to clean if I want to clean the device or the desk, something like that before. My stand for the iPad Air 2 that I usually use to monitor my footage. My my Panasonic G7 that records me. And this is, by the way, not, if you usually see my reviews, not a wooden desk. It is just this. I took this because if I had it plain white as I had before, and you've seen the device, you didn't get any sort of bokeh, but now you have a pattern in the background, so you have some bokeh, so I like that edition. I would wish for some others, and I maybe will get something if I find something proper. And here, once again, we have the Rode NT-USB with the boom arm. The only problem that I have with this microphone by now is, for some reason, every now and again I get some little bit of a crunch in the sound, and I'm not quite sure if that's because of OBS, because I don't think I have it with Audacity, so my footage or my audio isn't quite as what it is, and I hope it's actually good now with the lav mic. As you can see here, this is what I've had for quite some time now, my overhead rig with this cheap Chinese arm where I can attach my camera. As you can see, this is the Sony a6000 with the 25mm or the 50mm 1.8 lens and the hood, of course. And great camera, I love it. Didn't want to go for 4K since I don't need 4K yet, and that's why I didn't go for the way more expensive a6300. This totally gets the job done. The autofocus seemed to work a little bit better obviously on the 6300, but it's fine. And as you can see, I did use one more of these to make this thing a little bit stable, because as you can see here, usually I sit here when I make the reviews, and so many times I stand up and bump against this, and I'm so happy that this didn't fall off the wall here, or yeah, the ceiling. I had actually, or should have actually attached this, because as you can see it's loose. For some reason I never really wanted to yet, but this is it. Talking about the monitors, as you can see there are 5, but only 4 are in use because my current setup doesn't allow for 5 monitors, only 4. And this is the one that I usually always use to see what I'm doing in OBS. And it maybe looks a little bit too big actually, but I need something that big because OBS has a big border and I don't really see all that much of it. So that's why I switched from, as you can see, the one in the back, the 23-incher to the 27-incher. This one, like I said, is the review unit. And not quite sure what I will do with it because it's a 1080p gaming monitor, but it's TN. So not great for me if I want to get some proper footage in terms of colors. But maybe I will have some use for that because I just yesterday, because thanks to Super Bowl, there was for 1 hour 20% off in a store, and I had to pull the plug on a GTX 1070. And this means that now I have some gaming power, and now I can actually use all 5 monitors, which I will do at least temporarily. I'm not quite sure if I will, because a 5th one, actually, if I switch back, a 5th one would make actually some sense, because I would like to have a monitor here so I could display all the information that I need, for example, like my battery stats and the pros and cons, which I usually display on this one here as well. But you have seen that the transition isn't always that smooth, but this is a little bit overkill because it would also block the view. So if I would have something a little bit smaller, it would be nice, but that's about it. As you can see here, the foam, this is just temporarily placed. I will find something better in here as well, just to get acoustics better in check. And one thing that I don't like so much is that the Canon 80D doesn't seem to show me how long the video is. Okay, it's actually 50 minutes long. Wow, I did not expect it. Okay, it actually shows me how long. So these three monitors, here is where most of the stuff happens. This is what I look at usually during the review. This is what I will see. And I'm definitely looking forward to some more gaming now with the 1070, even though my 970 still performed just well enough. So let's switch this back around. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot. I think I've covered most of the tech that I use. So my headphones, my cameras, my microphone, the whole setup, the chair, and so on. I didn't really get into that one a lot, but as you can see, it is definitely way more comfortable now. And this is what is important at the end. This is where I pretty much spend all my day making videos for you, and you see that I make a lot. And I have to say the biggest change for me definitely was switching with... I actually didn't even talk about my PC. Okay, so let's quickly do that. Because as you can see here down there is my PC with... Okay, the cables, forget them. This is because of the charger for the Canon. My Fractal Design R5. Not really happy with that, but it gets the job done. Now I have it and it will stay. About the PC... Whoppa, I'm shaking, sorry. Oh, wow. i7 6700K, overclocked to 4.6 GHz, water cooled. All in one, water cooling was totally enough for me. Still, the MSI GTX 970 will be replaced with an MSI GTX 1070 Gaming X. I got it like 110 euros off, so I paid like 370. It's still a lot, but it's cheaper than it normally is, and that is something that I could justify. So I'm looking forward to that. 32 gigabytes of RAM. I think I have by now like over 2 terabytes of SSD storage. I have, as you can maybe see here, somewhere at the back, the silver casing. This is a 1 terabyte drive from SanDisk. This is just where I have all my Steam games. Then I have 2 500 gigabytes Samsung 850s EVOs that I usually have the system on and do the footage on fast enough. I would still wait for an NVMe, but this is totally fine. And then I bought a 750 gigabyte Crucial MX300 that I have for some other stuff. And I don't like HDDs anymore. Everything is SSD. They are affordable by now, especially if you get it on sale. So this is my PC. Totally gets the job done still. I personally think it's actually not all that great for 4K because 4K is so tasking, and I don't have a 4K setup anyways because I prefer the higher frames per second over the higher resolution. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let's check this view once again. I love this. I love this. It is so great. And I have to say the whole space now, especially with the new desk, will allow me to be a little bit more cleaned up. And it should make a change. And this was it. If you like this video, it was definitely long enough and I don't think anyone would have watched this whole thing. But I still hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time, quite soon, with the next video. Bye.